Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Gia. I am a 26-year-old lady who lives in my mom's basement, and today is the April TBR. I wanted to start doing TBRs again because I started to tack them on at the end of wrap-up videos, and that just didn't really make a lot of sense. Plus you had to get all the way to the end of the wrap-up to hear about what I was going to be reading. And since I'm doing these small snippet videos where I'm doing small book reviews and also doing deeper content videos as time goes on, or at least I'd like to, I would like to tell you guys ahead of time as to what I'm reading or what I'm planning to read. So as we all know, my goal for 2023 is to read 75 books, but the lists that I have curated and that I'm currently curating, because they not constantly, but they change on occasion depending on the vibes, they are kind of themed to the month, or like themed to what I'm feeling, or themed to a holiday, or to, seasonal, that kind of thing. So the lists that I have are longer than what my goal encompasses. So if I read everything that I have on these lists, I will actually read about 120 books. I counted 110 the last time, and then I added some books to it, so I'm going to say it's closer to 120. However, first and foremost, I would be remiss to begin the April TBR to not start it by going over the books that I haven't read so far from February and March, because I'm still a little behind. There are only 2 books from February that I have not gotten to yet, and that is Queen of the Tierling by Erica Johansson. I just renewed this for the second time from the library. And then I think I'm just about to start reading this because honestly the vibes call for it, but this super pretty copy of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, it comes in this beautiful case. I got it from Target a really long time ago, and it was just so pretty. I had to have it. I don't know if they ever produced any other pretty copies. Oh my god, my spine is broken. If you could see that, it's broken. I have never opened this in my life, so that's kind of disheartening. That sucks. The binding was never secured properly, so I'm gonna have to be really careful when I read that, or get some glue. So that's not what I wanted to find when I first opened that book, because it's so pretty. This is a collector's edition, by the way. It's not just a pretty copy, it is a collector's edition. So I actually don't know if there are other collector's editions of the other books, but I can be convinced to buy them. And then in the month of March, the books that I have not gotten to yet, the first one being The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This book is over 800 pages long. This is also a collector's edition for the 10th anniversary of the book. I did start it on audio the other day. I have not gotten very far quite yet, but I will get there. It's 16 hours of listening, so I will read it. I just feel like it's like I want to read this book, but I feel like I will better absorb the content if I listen to it, because it is considered high fantasy. And sometimes when authors create high fantastical worlds that have not made up words, but like its own language, like very Tolkien-esque vibes, sometimes I can't pronounce it in my head, so I want to listen to it so that I know how to pronounce it. So Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, Blade Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. This also just got renewed for the second time at the library. This is also like 600 pages. I've been putting off all of my high fantasy reads that are super long, and I gotta stop doing that because there's so many of them that I'm behind on. Next is Bone Weaver by Aidan Polydoros. I am about 40% into this right now. I just had to take a break and put it down. I am not very engaged with it, but I enjoy it. It's just not very engaging for me. It's just I really want to finish it because I think that it'll be worth it. I just think it hasn't quite clicked for me, or I'm just in a slump, so I'm trying to get through it and I don't want to DNF it. So I'm trying my best, but I did put it down to read something else, and that has been going well. Next is The Wicked King by Holly Black. I did start reading this apparently probably about 2 years ago, and I didn't know, so I probably don't remember anything. But yes, next is this very pretty copy of The Wicked King. And then The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner, that came out last month, and I still have not gotten around to it, but it is a new release. So honestly, I am not that mad at myself for not getting around to it. Okay, we have now reached the portion of the video where I'm going to talk about all of the books that I hope I can finish in April, but I probably won't. So the theme for April is April showers, right? Because April showers bring May flowers. So everything next month is going to be very floral. So this, I was going for angsty. I was going for like everything the color blue, basically. I was going for everything that if I imagined it on my TV, I can imagine it with a twilight filter. Anything by the sea, anything water, that's the vibe I was going for. So the first is Fable by Adrienne Young. I have this on Kindle Unlimited right now, which is extremely helpful because I don't have to worry about it being sent back to the library or worrying about a hold or anything. I can read it on my own time. Next, I have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo because I am trying to read all of the Six of Crows duology, soon to be trilogy, and the Shadow and Bone trilogy so that I can actually watch the show because I am extremely interested in doing so, but I want to read the books first. Next is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This would be the second book by Victoria Aveyard that I read this year. This will be easy. I could honestly probably read this in like 2 days. I might actually read it sooner rather than later to kind of get out of the reading slump. Just a quick little paperback moment. The next one being Three Dark Clouds by Kendare Blake. I've also had this for a million years. I don't even know what this book is about. I just have it, and we're gonna read it. So I'm excited. I have to incorporate like these smaller paperback moments in between like these really heavy high fantasy moments because it's just so much. So much. Next is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I've heard that this book will make me cry. So I hope that it does. It's very hard to make me cry when it comes to books. I'm more of a visual media crier. I will cry during a movie if a dog dies. If a mom or dad dies, specifically if a dad dies, I get extremely emotional. So yeah, I'm more of a movie watcher crier, but if a book can make me cry this year, then they probably will automatically go to like the top 10 for 2023. Next is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Again, I'm ecstatic to read this. I've heard so many good things about this book. The next book is Empress of All Seasons by Emiko Jean. The name of the book kind of gives away the plot. It is a Japanese-inspired fantasy about a kingdom in which you are able to marry the prince or princess by entering a contest where you have to survive the seasonal rooms of the palace. So like winter, spring, summer, and fall, I guess, are enchanted puzzles or dungeons of some sort, and you have to survive them. All are permitted to compete except for yokai, which is a supernatural creature that lives amongst mortals. It is kind of a shape-shifting creature, and our main character is a yokai living in secret. I am extremely excited to read this because I've been getting more and more interested in different Asian mythologies, and this is inspired by Japanese culture. So yes to all of this. And that ends the segment of this video where I can physically hold up books, which it was a long segment today, weirdly enough. I actually have a lot of these physically, but moving on to the rest of the books that are either ebook copies or I don't have them yet. The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I am so excited to read this. I think that the second I get my hands on it, I will start reading it because the last book just had me so ready to continue. But I was like, no, like you have to wait. Like you planned this out for a certain reason. So I am so ready to get my hands on the Final Gambit. Next is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I've said previously that the main reason why this book was intriguing to me was that it was about sirens, and I don't really see sirens featured as a supernatural creature in many books. You know how we have vampires being heavily featured and it kind of became a trend, and vampires, werewolves, and then fae, because of Sarah J Maas and Holly Black, they became very heavily featured in the media to the point where it became a trend and then a meme and then memed again kind of over and over. So I really don't see sirens very often or hear about it. So this book was published in 2018 and it got a Goodreads Choice Award. So I want to read this because I want to see if maybe now that if I read a book about sirens, maybe I'll see more of them. They might get recommended to me, but it just looks different. It really looks like a different type of story, and I'm excited to read it. Next is The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. I have this on audio from the library right now. I am trying my best to get to it like ASAP because I don't want it to get returned. So I'm probably going to be switching between Name of the Wind and The Wolf and the Woodsman. Next is The Librarian of Crooked Lane by C.J. Archer. I have just heard that this is an amazing trilogy by Peruse Project, aka Reagan. I mean, a book about a librarian holding a secret. You got me immediately. I'm hooked. I'm in. Anything that takes place in like a library or a museum or I don't know, a history department at a college. Like, I'm there. It's not that I look for myself in a book, but if I can find myself in a book, I'm there. I will be there. Next is the Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This is a newer release, or it is at least new to me. I have heard a lot of really good things about it. I was also drawn to it by the cover because my first time seeing it was recommending it to me on Amazon, because I started making this list on Amazon called Books I Am Attracted to Solely by the Cover, and I wanted to do like a month-long video of me only reading books that I read based on my attraction to the cover, but some of those are already in other lists, so I did see this on Amazon being recommended to me, and then I saw a lot of people starting to talk about it, so yes, it looks very cottagecore. It looks very whimsical, and I am here for it. But I've heard that it is YA, so it may trend more down to middle grade. So I'm not sure if I'm going to 100% enjoy it, but I am looking forward to diving in. Then The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. This was actually sent to me by the library a little bit earlier than I anticipated, and I told the library to like give me like a week because I'm not ready. But I am so excited to read The Atlas Paradox after I rated The Atlas 6 5 stars last month. So I am ready. I'm ready. Actually, I read The Atlas 6 in March, so I'm filming this before I film the March wrap up, so I haven't talked about it yet, but I loved The Atlas 6, so I am ecstatic to read The Atlas Paradox. I don't usually put books in the same series so close to each other, but I have just been so excited to read through some of these series that I wanted to. Plus, I felt like they fit the vibe. The last book is actually one that I'm reading currently. I will probably finish it today, actually. It's Bloodlines by Rochelle Mead. I know that this is a TBR, not a wrap-up or a review video, but I'm not entirely feeling it right now, but I'm trying to give it a chance because people have said that the sequel series is better to them than the original. It's just starting out a little rough for me. I will go into that at a different time, but let's just say that right now I am not 100% feeling it, but I am about 70% of the way through it, and it is getting better as it goes on, but I have my gripes. So if I am counting all of this correctly, that would be 2 books that I did not finish from February that I need to get started on, and then 5 books from March that I need to get started on. One of them I am in the middle of reading, and then 14 books in April. So 21. I'm trying to read 21 books in the month of April, and it is already April 5th. That's like 1 book a day, or like 1 book every 15 hours. I am probably going to trend behind because I have been trending behind. I gotta admit, March was a really good reading month for me, but I was picking up a lot of slack from January and February, so I did pick up a lot, but I didn't get a lot done with the March books. So it did help that I DNF'd one of the February books because it was just bad. Anyways, that is all from me today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me if you got to the end of this video. If you'd like to find me anywhere else, you could find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. I am catching up on posting my little Bookstagram reviews because I got behind on that, and I am going to start streaming on Twitch again eventually. But yes, you can find me there. I'm just not the most active. Remember to drink water and be nice to each other and exude kindness and empathy with everything that you do, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.